Started Roland Garros. Ivan Lendl, John McEnroe were in the fourth set. First set to McEnroe, 7-6 in a tiebreaker. Lendl won the second in a tiebreaker. He won the third set 6-4. The resumption of play earlier today, a match that was postponed because of darkness last night at 9:22 Paris time. We're at 3-2 for McEnroe in the fourth set.
Wow, what a change. Richard Kaufman asked the guy to check the line. That's just what McEnroe wanted Kaufman to do on the second set point that he lost. Obviously today, Richard Kaufman in the chair is going to quell anything from exploding and happening.
How come you didn't ask to see the other mark? How come you didn't ask to look at the other mark? There was no mark that I saw. So wrong, scary. That was my opinion.
That's exactly what I was just saying. John said, why did you do it now? Why did you do it just now on the first point when you didn't do it for me in the tiebreak last night? I agree with him on that, by the way. The linesmen have been getting up and checking lines for 2 weeks now.
Mary, there's a distinction, though, between if the man in the chair is comfortable with the call and he sees clearly that the linesperson is correct, then he doesn't have him come out of the chair. If he's not sure and there's some question in his mind, then he says, get out and check. That's the way they explained it to me, and it makes sense. Otherwise, you're going to have guys getting out of the chair every second point.
Well, it didn't make sense to John McEnroe last night. After the match was stopped, boy, he couldn't get his mind beyond that tiebreak, especially that point. Another line check. The man sticks to his call.
I swear sometimes I'll get up and find a mark that coincides with the call regardless of where it is. I don't know how that was, but that's the temptation. 40-15 for Lendl. Calling for new balls. Lendl goes to the side of the court. As you see, he's taking out a newly strung racket. He will do that every time there's a ball change, and very often, more often than that. 3 games all now in the fourth set.
Look at that.
Lendl still hasn't missed one.
Hey, here's McEnroe, who desperately needs to scare up a break just to stay in this match. And his opponent hasn't missed a serve.
But 8 out of 12 is not a bad percentage for him either. The last time McEnroe served from this court, he had 40 love, remember? Lendl got back to deuce, and then McEnroe served it out.
tremendous point by Lendl. Fantastic lob, and John is just thinking to himself, why couldn't I finish that point at the net? Here it is. Had he done a little bit more with this, perhaps, but he was just reacting to the ball. This one, too, was well placed, but Lendl had a nice shot at it and came up with a tremendous lob. John, sensing Lendl was moving into the net, had to go for a big forehand, and it was well wide.
He did more than sense. Almost point. 15-30.
You know, for John to really get away with hitting that forehand on clay, he's got to turn his shoulders early and he's got to hit the ball early. And that's just not happening enough.
Well, that continental grip hurts you in terms of hitting the ball early, but your shoulder comment is exactly right. It is so easy to get lazy when you've got that continental grip.
Right.
When you have the correct, or not the correct grip, but when you've got an eastern or western grip, you've got to be in position. Lendl has a break. Two sets to one and 4-3 for the number one. So Lendl will serve at 4-3. If he can hold on the next two serve games, he'll be through to the quarterfinal of this championship. You know, the winner, to me, as you hear the crowd applauding McEnroe, they have been solidly behind him from the start of this match, have been the balls, these new high-energy balls, because it has transformed this championship into a much more delightful event where you've seen a lot more variety of play. The big serve and volley game, well, it may not necessarily win here, but it helps.
Amen. John was doing in the last set as well. You know, instead of he's been running into those returns in an effort to get to the net quickly instead of just sort of leaning into them and then making his move. Lendl's serve is just too big not to set up well enough and then attack the net.
He's only missed one first serve in this set. You can't attack that serve.
That's right. You have to pressure it though. Like that. That's a good one. Oh, that's even better. Look at that.
Having said you can't attack it, he attacks that first serve of Lendl. It was a great return of serve he got in, but Lendl could not have hit a better passing stroke. 'Mac wants Kaufman to have the linesperson check the mark. Kaufman is reluctant to do so, and the linesman is sure of his call. He indicated that, so he's not going to.
And Lendl is aggravated. Lendl just said, "Come on," a moment ago.
Five games to 3 now. Lendl is one game away from winning the match.